everyone, Donna McElvaney here. We are going to be doing dragon scale fingerless gloves today and with the flat palm side. Alright, so the dragon scales only go on the outside and just to the wrist and not on the palm. And that way there it's nice and flat. You can do things, you can hold things, and it's not so bulky on both sides. Okay, so let's get started here. Alright, I am using Unforgettable yarn. I don't think many Walmarts have it for sale anymore. This is an old skein that I had from last year. It's good to use. I use a size G. This is my own hook handle here that I made to actually fit my hand well. This yarn is good for a G, but the last one that I made, I used an H hook on it, and I'm making a pair for that one. So I'm going to use my H hook here. Alright, starting out, we're going to chain 24, but if you're using 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hang on, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. If you're using a larger, thicker yarn, then you only want to do 20. As I wrap it around here, and that is going to fit just right with 24. But like I said, if it's a thicker yarn, you only want to do about 20. And check your hand size too. Let's see, I don't count that first knot as I go on. That first knot, I don't count it as a stitch. I count the very next one as a stitch. Alright, so I'm going to join here. Slip stitch to join it. I work my tail in as I go. That way I don't have to mess with it later, and it gets in there pretty good. So what we're going to do first is we're going to single crochet all the way around on this beginning chain. Alright, so single crochet all the way around. I pick up 2. And I tuck that tail in as I go. Unforgettable is a difficult yarn to work with. And if you ever have to frog it means rip it, rip it, rip it, rip it. If you ever have to frog it, trust me, you'll hate it. It's kind of a fuzzy yarn, so it likes to tangle on itself, and that makes it very difficult at times if you make a mistake. If you do have to frog it, be really, really careful and go really slow whenever you're taking it apart. And you might want to have a pair of little bitty snips on hand too, to snip that little bit of yarn that winds up getting tangled in on itself. Alright, so I'm just single crocheting all the way around. It's been a while since I have made a video. I wound up having a very rare side effect to an antibiotic, and it has messed up a lot of tendons and joints throughout my body, so it's really sucked. But praise God, things are getting better. I am able to crochet again. I'm very thankful for that. I wasn't able to crochet for a long time. It's been 8 months now since the reaction began. And the antibiotic was Levaquin. It's also called levofloxacin, is the generic brand of it. Other antibiotics in that class are called ciprofloxacin, moxifloxacin, Avalox. There is a full list of them. And the FDA put out a warning, don't take that antibiotic unless there is absolutely no other option to take it. So if you're ever prescribed that antibiotic, it would be a good thing, your best interest, to ask for a different antibiotic if possible. Because trust me, you don't want to go through this. Okay, so we are back around at the beginning. I'm going to slip stitch into there. Okay, All right, I'm going to begin with starting the foundation, the base for the crocodile stitch. All right, so I'm going to chain up 2, yarn over. I'm going to go into that same space where I just was. That's going to be for my first crocodile stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next one and do a double crochet, just 1, chain 1, skip 1, do 2 double crochets into this next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, do a single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and do 2 double crochets. You want to have 3 crocodile stitches, goes across the back of the hand. All right, so I'm going to double check and make sure that I have 3. So this is going to be a crocodile stitch here. So that's 1, 2, and 3. All right, so here, what I learned, trial and error, I don't want to have really big gaps in it on the sides where, like, on your hands and stuff, you don't want to have really big gaps. So in coming off of this one here, I yarn over and I go down. I don't chain 1 as you see here. I'm going to go into the very next stitch and I'm going to do a half double crochet because we're taking it down, and then I'm going to do another single crochet right next to that. So here's the 2 doubles, and then I did a half double right next to it and a single crochet next to it. Now I'm going to chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to do the moss stitch on the back. So the moss stitch is single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, 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 single crochet, chain 1, skip 1. It brings me to here. Here I am going to go ahead and single crochet here. I'm going to come up to the top of, this was my chain 2. Some people chain 3 for a double crochet, and I think that's typical. It's actually what you're supposed to do. I chain 2, you can chain 3. Go to the top of it. All right, so I single crocheted here. It's kind of a long stretch here, but we're going to go to the top and we're going to slip stitch. All right, you don't want gaps, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm closing gaps. So here we're going to begin with the crocodile stitch. All right, so the crocodile stitch, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to do 5 double crochets on this post. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn over this way, and I'm going to do 5 more double crochets up the post. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn back this way to get kind of back where we are. That's crocodile stitch. Okay. Now this was the single double crochet post. I am not going to yarn over on it. I am going to come through here and I'm going to slip stitch to anchor it down. All right, now I'm going to yarn over and go into the next 2 posts to do crocodile stitch number 2. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this post, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn it around to find where you're going next. I slip stitch to anchor it down, and then here's the next 2 posts. So yarn over and do 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn it around this way so that you can do 5 double crochets going back up the second post. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so now, all right, turn back around this way. I'm going to anchor it down to right here. Slip stitch, anchor it. All right, so we come up. I'm going to show you these. All right, so these are 3 crocodile stitches, and they go like that on the hand. They will lay down flatter. Okay. All right, so see how 3 goes across the hand really, really well. All right, so come back over here. Now we got to straighten up because now we're going to do a regular row again. All right, so I anchored it to there. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to do a single crochet right here. All right, now I'm going to go back to the moss stitch, chain 1, single crochet. All right, so whoops, trying really hard not to hit my stand over here. I don't have a way of holding my cell phone, so I've got it propped up on a can of Suave hairspray and a jar of some hand cream down there. I know, what are you going to do, right? All right, so we've moss stitched across this back, which is single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. So I did all the way over to here. So now we've come to the top of this crocodile row. So what we have to do here is we have to lay down our grid again. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to this first crocodile stitch, and I am going to do a single crochet in it, chain 1, and now here is where I'm going to start my grid because your stitches have to be in between each stitch. So this next row, I start right there, and then at the top of this post, I'm going to go in, I'm going to slip stitch, chain up, 2 or 3, yarn over, do a double crochet in that same one, chain 1. Over here, we're in the space of the crocodile stitch, yarn over, do a double crochet, chain 1. At the top of this post, I'm going to do 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, yarn over, do a double crochet in that one. Okay, now we're at the end of these, but we have to have 3. So here I've got 1, 2, and now I'm going to put my third one right here on this corner, right here. Yarn over, and do 2 double crochets here. We want to close gaps So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into this next stitch here and do a half double crochet. So I'm taking it down, and I am going to chain one, come over here and do another single crochet. So I've taken it down. All right, we're going to moss stitch across the back. We're going to go ahead and put a single crochet in there as well. And then, so right here we're at the top of this one. So I'm going to put another single crochet here. I'm going to come up and I'm going to join at the top of this with a slip stitch, turn, and I'm finding, you got to find your posts here. All right, so here's my 2 posts. Yarn over, 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some crocodile stitches, I do believe, I've seen some that has 6 double crochets that makes up the crocodile stitch, and that's fine too. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think 5 lays down better whenever it comes to the gloves. All right, and then I slip stitch, anchor it onto that one. Move on to the next. If you're unfamiliar with the crocodile stitch and I'm not showing you well enough on this video, there are some other tutorials out there, not mine, but there are some other tutorials out there that really get down to the basics of the crocodile stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you need some extra guidance on doing that. All right, let me turn it around and go to this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn. We anchor it to here. Yeah, that was my canna suave. All right, next one. And 5 doubles. 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn. Now back to the end, so I'm going to anchor it right here. This colorway is Echo by Unforgettable. All right, so I anchored it to that, I slip stitched it, I'm going to turn it, I'm going to find my next stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet right there. And go ahead and begin the moss stitch. So I chained 1, going into here, moss stitch around the back. If you're working with a variegated yarn and you do the moss stitch on it like this, it does have a tendency to go ahead and make a pattern, especially whenever you get down to the wrist part of it. I've made some really cool designs using variegated pooling yarns that do that. Okay, so we We have 2 rows now of the crocodile stitches. So now we need to see where our first one was, and it was here. So up from here is where we need to go ahead and start the grid for the crocodile stitches. So I already, okay, so it's right here. I'm going to go over one more right here. I'm going to slip stitch there, chain 2, and double crochet, chain 1, and do a double crochet here, chain 1, 2 double crochets. I'm going to go right into this one, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets right into there, and 2, chain 1, double crochet. Now I'm going to go back and count. I've got 1, 2, 3. So I've got my 3, and I want to close gaps. So here, instead of doing a double crochet in that one, I am going to start to bring it down. So I'm going to do a half double crochet. And actually, I don't want to chain 1 either, because you don't want gaps. Alright, so yarn over, half double, and then right above this part right here, I'm going to do a single crochet into that one, chain 1, and begin the moss stitch around. I've had several requests for a video on these, and it has taken me quite some time to put it out, so I apologize for the delay in getting this out there. And I'm thankful for all the requests and for all the views and everyone that watches my videos. Alrighty, so here we are, and I'm going to go ahead and single crochet down there to get it nice and close, and slip stitch it to the top, turn it around, yarn over, and begin the 5 for the crocodile stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and turn, 1, 2, 3, I have a knot there, 4, 5, I'm hoping to hide it a little bit. I think I've got it all nice and tucked under to the bottom of it. Alright, turn, anchor with a slip stitch, moving on to the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn and anchor. Go up to your row and go to the stitch here. Single crochet, chain 1, and we proceed with the moss. With a thicker yarn, you only need about 5 rows of the crocodile stitch before you get to the thumb. With Unforgettable and any other yarn that's more of a finer yarn, you can do 5, or you can check it and decide, well, maybe I need 6. So with the Unforgettable, I typically do 6. All right, so here we are fixing to begin our grid. So we want to begin our first grid right here. All right. So I'm going to I'm going to moss stitch over, just do a single crochet here, chain 1. Now here is where I'm going to slip stitch it, chain up 2, yarn over, 2 double crochets there, because I'm going to have my next crocodile stitch is going to be here, here, and here, right here on the end. All right, so this is the first one. All right, do 2 into this one. And double into this one. Okay, and now here I'm going to put this one right here. One and 2. I'm not going to chain 1. I'm going to bring it down. So I am going to come right down here, do a half double, and let's see here. I'm going to check my work below, see how I don't have gaps. I'm afraid. I'm going to bring that one closer. All right, yarn over, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right here with the half double, and then I'm going to put the single crochet here where that single crochet goes. Okay, I feel better about that. It's nice and closed. All right, and then we're going to proceed to do the moss stitch. All the way around until we get to this beginning of the grid. It's going to be right here. All right, here, I'm that close to it. I'm not going to do a stitch in the base of this one. I'm right here. I'm going to go straight up to the top slip stitch it there. Okay, then you really have to hunt to find that post. Since I just did a single here, so you gotta like really hunt for that post. Alrighty, I'm gonna put 5 in here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn, anchor it, move to the next, 5 in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn, anchor it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, turn, and anchor. Turn it up, single crochet, and begin the moss stitch. Okay, we come around here, and I need to go ahead and begin my grid right here. I'm going to slip stitch, chain 2, and another double crochet in that same place, chain 1, and do my grid across. That is my pit bull snoring in the background. Okay, make sure we have 3. 1, 2, and 3. Alrighty. So I'm not going to do a chain here. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to bring it down. So a half double. And I'm going to go right to here and do a single crochet. Chain 1 and begin the moss stitch. we're back around. So I am going to single crochet into here, join it at the top, slip stitch it, turn, find my post, and do the crocodile stitch. One, two, three, 4, and 5. It can be complicated, so I'm actually going to do each row till I get to the thumb. One, two, three, 4, 5, turn, and slip stitch to anchor it. Continue to the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and turn, anchor, and go to the next one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, turn, and anchor, turn it up, single crochet, and moss stitch. Okay, see where we are. All right, so my grid will begin here. All right, so I will continue to moss stitch till I get to it. All right, I'm gonna slip it, chain 2, okay, so there's the first one. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa, do I already have 6? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I've got 5. This will make 6. Okay. If you're using a heavier yarn, you probably want to go ahead and do the thumb now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so with that, I'm actually going to, even though I have to do 6 on this one, I'm going to go ahead and do the thumb part here. And let's see, I got to figure out which hand I'm making this one for. This one is going to be for this hand. So see why I want an extra row for the unforgettable, because it just needs one more row up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So usually I have 6, but I'm just going to do 5 for now. All right, so I am putting the thumb on this side. So I'm going to come off of here, and I'm going to go ahead and put the thumb hole there. And which way am I going? All right, I'm going this way. So I'm going to put the thumb hole on the next turn. So I'm going to moss stitch. Nope, that's not right either. Not moss stitching. I am still doing the grid because I still have to do crocodile stitches. All right, so slip stitch into there. All right, we're going to continue the grid.